The IRS is designed to catch everyone, but one man stayed untouchable. Not because he hid money, but because he understood the rules better than the people who wrote them. For 7 straight years, the IRS kept reopening the same case file. Not because of a tip, not because of a whistleblower, but because the numbers wouldn't behave the way they were supposed to. Every year, the system predicted a tax bill worth millions. And every year, that bill quietly collapsed. No offshore accounts, no fake names, no missing income. Just a perfectly filed return that somehow resulted in almost nothing owed. Auditors flagged it. Analysts escalated it. Supervisors reopened it. They weren't chasing a ghost. They had a real man, a real address, a real paper trail. And yet, year after year, the same conclusion came back. No crime detected. That's when the IRS realized something terrifying. They weren't hunting a criminal. They were watching an expert. This is not a story about tax evasion. It's not about corruption, hacking, or insider help. This is a story about what happens when someone reads the rules so carefully that they stop being rules and start becoming tools. Everything this man did was legal, audited, reviewed, approved, for 7 years. And when the government finally understood what was happening, they didn't arrest him. They rewrote the law. Because sometimes, the system doesn't lose loudly. Sometimes, it loses quietly. To understand how this was possible, you need to understand the moment in history. Early 2000s America. The IRS was stronger than it had ever been. Paper files were gone. Everything was digital. Banks, employers, investment firms, all feeding data into centralized databases. Audits weren't random anymore. They were calculated. Algorithms flagged behavior. Software compared returns across millions of taxpayers. If your deductions didn't align with your income, you were flagged. If your behavior deviated from the norm, you were reviewed. The IRS didn't need instincts anymore. It had patterns. And that's where the problem began. Because patterns only work when people behave predictably. The tax system was built on one silent belief. Most people don't think strategically about taxes. They rush through filing. They trust software. They follow summaries. They avoid fine print. The system was designed for compliance, not optimization. It assumed people wouldn't read footnotes, wouldn't chain rules together, wouldn't treat the tax code like a machine. That assumption made the system efficient. And it made it vulnerable. The man at the center of this story didn't look dangerous. No flashy lifestyle. No luxury cars. No mansion. No private jets. He lived quietly. Worked regular jobs. Paid bills on time. Middle class. Educated. Forgettable. The kind of guy you'd sit next to on a flight and never remember. And that's exactly why no one noticed him at first. He wasn't a prodigy. He wasn't a math savant. What he had was something far more dangerous: patience. While everyone else treated tax season like a chore, he treated it like a puzzle. While others skimmed summaries, he read footnotes. While professionals focused on popular deductions, he focused on exceptions. Clauses written in dense legal language. Rules buried so deep most accountants ignored them. He wasn't trying to cheat. He was trying to understand. It started with a simple question. Why do two people earning nearly the same income owe completely different amounts? Why does timing matter more than totals? Why do losses sometimes matter more than profits? Why does moving money a few months forward or backward change everything? The deeper he went, the clearer it became. The tax code wasn't just a list of rules. It was logic. And logic could be optimized. Most people ask, how much do I owe? He started asking something else. How does the system expect me to behave? That question changed everything. Because the IRS didn't just collect taxes. It predicted behavior. And predictions can be manipulated. The first year, he barely pushed the limits. A few lesser-known deductions. Careful income timing. Depreciation rules most people ignored. He saved a few $1,000s. Nothing crazy. He filed early. Filed clean. Everything documented. No audit. No letter. No delay. And that's when he noticed something crucial. The IRS didn't investigate confidence. Clean paperwork meant low risk. Organized returns moved faster. Perfect formatting reduced scrutiny. The system trusted people who looked like they knew what they were doing. Efficiency demanded trust. And trust created blind spots. The second year, he refined the approach. Same income. lower tax burden, still legal, still documented, still invisible. He wasn't hiding money. He was moving it through time. By year 3, something new happened. The rules started feeding each other. Carry forward losses, deferred income recognition, depreciation schedules. Each rule was legal on its own. Combined, they formed a loop. A cycle the system never expected anyone to repeat year after year. The system didn't flag him as a criminal. It flagged him as an anomaly. Income steady. Tax liability shrinking. That's when the first audit letter arrived. The case landed on the desk of a senior IRS auditor we'll call Agent Miller. 20 years on the job. Thousands of audits. A reputation for catching aggressive filers. Miller didn't see fraud. He saw something worse. Precision. The man responded immediately. Calm. Organized. Every document matched IRS language perfectly. Receipts. Schedules. References. Miller checked box after box. Everything aligned. No correction issued. The case closed. Year 4 came in. Same pattern. Same result. Another audit. This time, Miller escalated it. Senior reviewers joined. More eyes. More scrutiny. Still nothing. Internally, the tone changed. Not panic. Frustration. They could see what was happening. They just couldn't stop it. Every move cited an existing rule. Every strategy referenced official guidance. The system wasn't broken. It was being used too well. By year 5, the man wasn't nervous anymore. He knew the audits were coming. He welcomed them. Because every audit confirmed the same thing. He was untouchable. Here's the truth the IRS didn't want to admit. The tax code wasn't written as a unified system. It was written over decades. By committees. By compromises. By patches layered on top of patches. It assumed human laziness would prevent exploitation. He removed laziness. And the whole thing unraveled. Returns delayed. Reviews repeated. Internal debates escalated. Lawyers scanned for violations. Nothing. No fraud. No misreporting. No intent to deceive. Just mastery. By year 7, his effective tax rate was near zero. Still earning money. Still filing legally. Still documented. This wasn't a loophole anymore. It was an embarrassment. Senior IRS officials met privately. Not to discuss prosecution, but damage control. They couldn't punish him. They could only stop the behavior from spreading. Quietly, the IRS updated the code. New limits. New restrictions. New language. The loophole vanished overnight. No announcement. No apology. Just silence. The next year, the man filed again. Same strategy. It failed. Not because it was illegal. Because it was no longer allowed. No arrest. No fine. No charges. Just a system quietly admitting defeat. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Systems aren't defeated by criminals. They're defeated by experts. By people who understand them better than their creators. If one man could do this for 7 years, how many others are still out there? And how many systems depend on us never finding out? The most dangerous person in the room isn't the one breaking the law. It's the one following it perfectly. If stories like this make you see the system differently, subscribe for more true stories they don't like talking about.